Hello friends, family and other creatures of the sea, welcome back to a high level ZVZ. Today in the bottom right spawning as our red Zerg player playing for Team On-Site Gaming. It is Solar. And in the top left as our blue Zerg player, the man, the myth, the legend, playing for Dragon Phoenix Gaming, it is Dark. Just noticed something by the way, is that these decals that are spinning around the hatchery have the exact same rotation time, and they start at the same time and they keep going. So boom. Yeah, let me actually properly center this. It's properly centered. Look at that. It's ridiculous. Exactly the same time. What's also exactly the same time is not the build orders, because this overlord was a little bit later here for Dark, and for whatever reason Solar has 3 points. This is just a single game that we're gonna be watching, so none of that business happening here. Third base coming down for Solar, delayed third a little bit for Dark by a couple of seconds. Seems like it's early game. Ah, right. This is one of the things that Dark does. I keep forgetting about this, but in ZVZ, to the frustration of many Zerg players, Dark never pulls out of gas. So rather than pulling out of gas like most Zerg players do and continuing to mine with just 2 workers, Dark leaves an extra worker in gas to just get that little bit of extra Vespene gas. Now, this costs you in the mineral count pretty heavily, but it also gains you a lot of gas. It's just a bit of a trade-off there. The funny thing is that fairly often, because of that, his Baneling Nest actually ends up being delayed more than his opponent's Baneling Nest, and it's the case right now as well. So this is what, 35. And this is right now just 35, so it's like 2 seconds behind, because you just have less minerals, right? Makes a lot of sense. Metabolic Boost is going to finish up here though for Dark, and starts a safety Baneling. At the same time we have an Evo Chamber coming down on the side of Solar. Always curious to see what these players have in store for us, if it's going to be some type of early Ling Flood, maybe some Ling Bane Pressure. Dark is a big fan of these Ling Bane Pressures, is insanely good with the micro with them as well. It's very solid control altogether. Layer timing could be quick. There's no Evo Chamber yet here. Okay, here we go. As this Ling for Solar gets in. And, well, we'll get a little bit of a scout. He has a pretty decent scout here, actually. Look at that. Sees no layer starting yet. Sees the gas mining coming in. And now Solar's going to find 2 of these Banelings morphing, which actually is a pretty big deal. And as a result, he's going to be capable of taking both out. One of these will surely finish. Dark too afraid to truly continue fighting. 2 more Lings morphing into Banes are going to be spotted here, as the natural wall is secure and safe for Solar. This has been a good initial defense here for the on-site gaming player, who's currently up, well, 2 workers, but 8 more workers on the way. We have 16 more Lings, 4 more Banes as well coming in. These Banes are not hidden. They have been revealed. At least some of these Banes have been revealed. I'm not even sure where the final 2 are. Oh, they were just morphed in at home. It's going to be a lot of Lings here. Solar will not be... Oh, no, Solar. Yeah, that's bad. Losing all of your Lings like that is actually quite bad, because it means you can't defend your Banelings anymore. Individual Lings can be attacking your Banes at all times right now. Here comes the detonation. 2 Banes moving in. Take out 3 Banes at once. Some of Solar's Lings coming back home. And it seems that in the end that... Well, maybe I spoke a bit too soon. This is pure Bane at this point. I just want to take out the hatchery or something, but you can't really do much else here. Yeah, this is... Oh my god, there's so many more Lings though. This is still somewhat tight. There's 2 more Banes being morphed in here for Solar. He's going to try to get good connections with these Lings. Ideally wants these Banes to stay alive for as long as possible, but I do believe that this third base is... I don't want to say officially dead, but it does feel like it's officially dead. There's a couple of Lings just doing absolutely nothing over here on the right side. +1 is over halfway done for Solar right now. A couple of Lings and a Roach are going to end up popping here at the third base, but I don't think they're going to be in time, as Dark is going to take a base lead, but is in an upgrade deficit, or soon will be in an upgrade deficit, and also is down 10 workers still. The real question that should be asked at this point is, can Dark survive without adding extra new units? Because in that case he can make use of his third base by sending extra drones there and mine from them. Right now Solar's actually outmining his opponent still, and as long as no extra drones are being added, that will remain the case. 2 Banes are being morphed, layers on the way, 6 extra drones. Dark is building 2 spine crawlers. These need to be cancelled, and they need to be cancelled pretty quickly. Otherwise Dark's going to be in some actual trouble. I really do hope he ends up cancelling these. It'd be a massive error to finish them. That's really expensive. That is really, really expensive. That is a lot of minerals and a lot of mining time you're losing there with these 2 drones. Oi, 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 oi. And at the end of the day, yes, Dark managed to take out that 3rd base, but the 3rd is about to finish up. Worker count is fairly close. Upgrade still in favor of Solar. There's going to be maybe slightly more minerals here for Dark. That's the one thing we can maybe say. Slightly more minerals for Dark. But there's already 10 Roaches out for Solar. So maybe at the end of the day, the game just kind of evens out. I mean, the very first part of the early game felt good for Solar. And then Dark managing to take out the 3rd base is a big deal. Did not quite manage to capitalize as hard on that. Spires being thrown down. I really like this move. Solar knows he's safe. Knows that he probably has a slightly faster layer, or had a slightly faster layer, and is going to make a quick use of that here as well. Overseers is already being sent out and is just straight up going to spot that Spire. It's double Overseers. And Dark is a very thorough player here. Making sure that he ain't dying. Hydra then gets built in an odd position, by the way. This is the type of position where Mutas can just, you know, bounce on it from the side, and then even the bounce will hit the drones as well. But this seems like there's a purpose to this, right? It seems like a wall for potential banelings, maybe. But I don't really believe this is going to be a baneling Muta type of play. This feels more like a melee attack Muta type of play. Feels like Roaches are still going to be produced. There might be some banelings added on to try and deal with the Hydras, as we see baneling speed. I love that type of play. I love watching banelings counter Hydralisk. I think it's a really cool thing to watch. Seeing the Hydra split away. It's really fun to have units that aren't as fast as Marines trying to split, but still being very vulnerable, right? Hydras are really, really vulnerable to banelings. They die so quickly to them. It's always lovely to see. It feels unfair in some way. Anyway, Lurker then being thrown down here. 4th base on the way as well for Dark. And this 4th base is absolutely key. And it almost always is absolutely key in any type of Muta game. Is that a lot of the pushes and the pressure revolves around the defensive 4th base. So the 4th base of the player that isn't building the Mutalisk. Because with the Mutalisk, you're getting a lot of map control. You're getting all more vision than your opponent, which means that aggressive rotations will be really easy. Any type of harassment can be easily dealt with by these Mutalisk. Any type of run by, you can just send the Mutas over as well. You basically are the king of the map for, well, a pretty decent amount of time. And that often can be used into denying 4th bases, getting into good positions, that type of jazz. We have a Spore on the way here right now, as we see a couple of Ravagers out already. First 4 Lurkers are on the way. Here comes Solar with a massive supply. I think she's going to straight up win the game here. As he walks in, Spore Spines get taken out. Lurkers, where are you? Oh, a little bit too far in the back. Solar is taking his sweet time though, dealing damage here. Not a huge fan of that. Mutas at the same time over here taking out an Overlord. Would have probably preferred having them in the fight. This angle isn't that brilliant either for Solar, but he still has such a massive army advantage here. 114 supply against 76. +2 is about to finish up for Dark, which is somewhat important. These Lurkers are dealing damage, but don't forget they don't have seismic spines. There's a lot of Dark there, just saving that one Lurker. Mutas continuing attacking this hatchery, and Dark soon will need to deal with that threat as well. But for now, Dark is just trying to stay alive, and he says, yes, if I lose that 4th base, that's annoying. But what's even more annoying is if I would lose my 3rd base, all the drones, and my entire army. So these Mutas for now are going pretty ham. Spore is going to change location here as Queens come back home and start working on those Mutas. It feels like Dark has, I don't want to say stabilized, but for now has held. In order to stabilize, you need to be stable, and Dark is anything but stable as Solar makes another rotation here. Good positioning on these Ravagers. Insane concave. +2 is about to finish up for him as well, but the initial part of this fight was without that extra upgrade. It means that he was fighting with a bit of an upgrade deficit. 4th base is going to end up falling. That is the one thing I am sure of, as an infestation pit is on the way here for Solar. And you could start to consider taking a 5th base already as well if you're Solar at this point. Start getting those extra gases, which are so important later on in the game for Vipers, for that Lurker count that you definitely need. Try to take out these rocks as well. 7 more Lurkers get constructed here. There is still no hive on the way for Dark, and that's kind of the funny thing is, yes, that his actual unit comp tech is pretty good. I mean, he's getting into Lurkers already, but without Seismic Spines upgrades, it can still be pretty scary to use all those Lurkers, right? And without Vipers, that could be an issue in the future. Solar really just wants to trade units at this point. It doesn't necessarily need to be one-to-one, but just trading in a way where your opponent is going to be incapable of maxing out, as a couple of Ravagers are going to get sniped here by Dark. Really like Solar's position, with that +2 carapace on the way, with those 4 bases. Yeah, this feels very, very good here for Solar. Tunneling Claws does start, and this is also the kind of position that Dark is one of these players that can get back into the game from here. You know, he has his tricks, he knows how to play. It's just unlikely, right? He's going to be down in upgrades the moment the high finishes. You can start your +3. Vipers will be out soon. Lurkers will be out with Seismic Spines on the side of Solar as well. Like, there's currently the only advantage that Dark has is the fact that he has some Lurkers. And that advantage is about to end in, well, 20 seconds or so, the moment the first Hydras hit the pitch. Yeah, it's legit going to be 20 seconds. 4 Vipers coming out as well. Dark's going to take a defensive fight here. The one thing Solar doesn't want is his opponent to completely max out, I guess. Which makes some sense. A couple of Ravagers actually being taken out here. These trades, well, the last few trades have been pretty okay for Dark. We can also kind of see that in the resources lost overall. Is that Solar has actually lost more resources, funnily enough. He's just been mining so much more, and that's why his position is superior. Now these Lurkers are moving in position, and despite them not having any type of range, that can still feel scary. Where's them first few Vipers is what I'm wondering. Not with this fight yet. Tunneling Claws has just finished up. Ground Carapace level 2 is about to finish up here for Solar. As this is not a very good concave that Solar can fight in. 186 against 182. Vipers have used their Blinding Cloud, so a lot of these Lurkers aren't actually firing. Now will start firing. Solar winning the start of this fight, but now the Vipers are out of energy and they need to quickly regain that. Otherwise these Lurkers can continue pushing forward. Queens are here with a couple of transfuses. Why are the Vipers not getting any energy? This is the one unit that you have right now that can save the day, Solar. This is a pretty wild push out here out of Dark, and it feels like it's almost working, but he hasn't dealt any real damage yet. He still is behind a base, or 2 bases actually. Still is behind some workers. He's still behind a carapace upgrade as well. And Dark doesn't have a hive either. So if Solar manages to push this back without taking any major damage, that could be a big, big deal. Spines moving forward as well. The Roaches and Hydras are coming in. Ravagers piling absolutely everything, taking out a bunch of these Lurkers. And it feels like that Dark is going to hold for 1 more second, at least in this position. The question is, what does this production tab tell us? Well, it tells us that, first of all, Dark has a bunch of money that he isn't spending, because he probably doesn't have the larva available. No forward base and all that. And second of all, it tells us that Solar is actually not outproducing his opponent by that much. Good control there on the Lurker. The Unbarrow Micro has been absolutely phenomenal. Single Viper, ooh, Blinding Cloud, that's a big deal. And here Dark is definitely going to get pushed back. And yeah, now it feels like the game is so heavily in Solar's favor that it feels close to impossible for Dark to ever really get back into this. There's literally 0 advantages currently for Dark. He's down in army supply, he has worse army composition, he has worse tech, he has less bases, he has less gases, he has less drones. Does he have anything more? He has 2 more Hydras than his opponent. I guess that's something. 2 more Hydras, that's literally it. Everything else he's doing worse in. Literally everything else. We really do need to see another Evo Chamber though. One of the main advantages of getting high faster than your opponent is the fact that you can actually get some of these upgrades going already. Another thing that kind of surprises me here is that we haven't seen a single Lurker come out of Solar, despite him having the ability to do so, right? Or did the Lurker then die in the struggle? It seems like it actually has died. Well, that sucks for Solar. That might give Dark a chance to survive. Because if you're fighting against Lurkers, and you're the person that has Lurkers also has Vipers, and you, with just pure Roach Hydra, don't have any of that, no Lurker, no Viper, life's going to get pretty tough really fast for you. There's still no Infestation Pit, by the way, here for Dark, which means he's planning on staying with this type of Roach army for a long, long time. A couple of Tunneling Claws Roaches are moving in towards this. What was this, the 3rd or the 4th base? I think this was the 4th base, actually. Roach is not well upgraded. Ooh, well upgraded enough to snipe these drones. Whoop, we'll need to piss off again. Love to see some harassment here on this right side as well, but seems difficult for Dark to truly get out on the map as he continues building more and more Roaches. Solar starts moving into position. This is a lot of Roaches though for Dark, and Hydras are trying to tank there. Ravager's going to get sniped, but this initial fight's already quite okay for Solar anyway. Don't think it matters too much. Couple of decent blinding clouds as well. We'll have to wait and see if this is going to be enough. Don't forget, Hydras often are quite vulnerable the moment their Roaches do end up dying. Roaches are kind of like the tanking force while the Hydras deal the damage in the back. Solar continues pushing and he says every trade is a good trade at this point as I'm outmining you. And that's indeed true. I still would love to see some actual transitioning coming out of here from Solar. I feel like 1 or 2 lurkers would just straight up end the game, and the cash is there. Feels like Solar is so comfortable in this position though. He doesn't really feel like he needs it. Does of course leave kind of something on the table here for Dark to grab, and I think that's the problem. The moment Solar's running up that tech tree and getting the better upgrades, eventually Dark's trades will just get so bad. But here, with good control, with good Ravager battles, maybe Dark can still do something good. Blinding Cloud gets cast. Second Blinding Cloud forces a lot of these Roaches and Ravagers forward. Once again, doesn't really feel like Solar can actually push this back. And Dark actually getting a little bit of a win here in the... or a little bit of a win. Getting a pretty significant win here in this fight. Supply's not quite evening out, but it's getting closer and closer. That's the one thing you definitely do not want. The moment Dark gets any type of real pressure out on the map or any type of momentum, this is the type of move that can start happening. And then you might be in trouble. Give Dark the ability to multitask, the ability to harass you with small groups of units. Yeah, you could be in some trouble. Well, now we finally have that lurker then coming in. We don't see the +3 quite yet. We don't have an Evo chamber either. And I think this is a little bit too late. You obviously want to be teching and transitioning while you have map control, while you're in firm control of the game. That's not the case at all. Solar down in supply, and it feels like it's actually going to be Dark who will be the one in charge here with the moves. Look at this. 5 Roaches moving into this 4th base. Then we have 6 Roaches moving in towards the 5th. Lots of drones being taken out. Solar a little bit hesitant in what to do here. Wanted to attack. I was like, no, actually I don't want to attack. I was losing a lot of workers here. Also bleeding a couple of Hydras there. 2 Roaches continue killing drones. And these bad boys will continue tunneling, clawing their way into death, it seems like. 1 Roach stays alive. Good control once again out of Dark though. Who does manage to keep 1 alive. And that's going to be annoying later on. I bet we're going to see some more Roaches. Yep, there we go. It's going to get... It's going to get spotted here immediately by Solar. I hope Solar was paying attention to that. That is actually somewhat important. I really hope that Solar... Please tell me this. I can't believe that Dark is continuing after being fully spotted for like 8 seconds. That is insane. That is crazy. Okay, this didn't get spotted, it seems like. Dark is up in supply. He's building some lurkers. Don't forget, no Hive, no Seismic Spines, no Vipers, no nothing. Seismic Spines is about to finish up for Solar, and this is still a lot of lurkers. This is still a massive issue. I don't quite see how Dark is going to fight this. She's going to be bleeding a couple of these Ravagers to start with. They get pulled in by the Ravagers. This Roach army is absolutely key here right now. It needs to force a base trade basically, and then with Ravagers hope that you can kind of kite. There's just a lot of abduct energy still available. 5 workers have gone out. Wait, where are these workers going down? Didn't quite see that. Oh, it must have been the long distance mining workers. Here come the Roaches moving in right now. Have them burrowed. So Solar tries to move into position. Don't think this is enough Roaches defensively though. Yeah, Solar's going to return completely. More and more Ravagers on the way for Dark. I think this is the one timing that Dark perhaps has where maybe he believes he can do something with a good position, with a little bit of luck. A couple of these Hydras get picked off from the back. And here we'll have to see some fantastic biles. First few biles are not quite hitting, but are good enough to zone away this army. 186 supply against 150. Lurkers largely out of position. No adaptive talents yet. A couple of these lurkers are going to end up falling. And this bottom side 4th base will die as well. A couple of workers I think might have died here as well. I'm not quite sure if there was any multitasking going on there. Solar right now in trouble. He's going to try and defend with these lurkers while counterattacking with the entirety of the rest of his army. A couple of abducts coming in. That's 4 Ravagers get taken out for free. That is one of the issues that Dark will need to deal with in the near future, is the fact that there's a lot of Vipers out. This defensive fight looks okay for Dark, at least for now. He's going to kind of sandwich this army when he comes back with all these Ravagers, but the Lurker's doing a lot of damage. Roaches moving around the Lurks. This is turning into a bit of a base trade here, and it felt like this was the only way for Dark to win, and now Solar finds himself in this position. Nothing defensively at home, not even a single Lurker. The funny thing here is that even just something like 2 or 3 Mutas would be so beneficial right now in this situation. There's literally no anti-air whatsoever out of Dark. Solar desperately is trying to split his army in a way where he can defend everything. Has lost 3 bases already. I think Dark can't be caught in this. Well, actually, this is a fight he can take maybe. On top of the ramp, is it? Lurkers here get taken out. I think Dark might actually be doing it. 85 supply. More. Okay, what is this? 7 Lurkers? 7 Lurkers remaining, right? Get a couple of these biles going. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. On burrow. 2 Lurkers go down already. A lot of the Roaches have died though. Decent control here coming out of Solar on these Lurkers. Burrowing, unburrowing. At the same time, a lot of the Roaches in the main base died for Dark. Solar still on 54 supply, but with 0 mining currently. Has a superior. Oh my god. And actually, this is really, really sick. It's like an actual base trade. We see Dark taking double gases right now. Over here on this base, 42 workers, but just doesn't have the mineral patches. This is the last standing army that Dark really has. Changelings being taken out. Ravagers are going to be so darn important here. So ridiculously important. Here comes the drone pool. Gee, what? Huh? Wait, was this over? I feel like if you wait for these... The army supply was favorable here for Solar. He has 16 Roaches, 5 Hydras and 1 Ravager, and 3 Vipers. You can just pull individual... You can just pull individual units in, no? You just suck some of your extractors dry. But this one you can already pull 2 units in. Would you pull in 2 Ravagers? Aren't you just winning the fight? What? Maybe Solar believed there was a base mine here. Like, the mining on this, like, there was hardly any gas mining. It's gonna be like 2 Roaches a minute or so. That's it. What? Maybe with the tanking of the drones it always would be enough, but... Oh, I don't know. I feel like if you can abduct 4 or 5 units in, the damage output of these Roaches is so little, you can just kite back. I could just be wrong though. Maybe it was GG, but I wouldn't have minded if he tried. What a sick game. I like this type of CVZ. And actually a sick CVZ. This matchup has been surprising me lately. I'm just gonna watch it once more. I guess he had a bad initial trade here or something. Went a bit too deep maybe. Yeah. I don't know. It's hard to say. Like, he had 15 Roaches before when he left. It says 10 now, but that's because a couple died as he was just standing still, pressing the surrender button and then leaving the game. But he had like 16 Roaches. He was up significantly. Interesting. Alright, that's going to be it for me today. Thanks all so much for watching. Hope you did enjoy this game. I for sure did. And I'll see all of you next time for a new video. Thank you, and bye-bye.